They ruined it. Just as we had leaked over the last few months, Apple gave us the first redesign to iOS in over a decade. A design that works so well for a product like Vision Pro. Floating, glass-like elements in a three-dimensional space makes digital UI pieces feel like real life. But the question has been, if they're going to bring that style of design to the iPhone, how will a design modeled for a 3D space work inside of a 2D phone experience? Turns out, it doesn't. iOS 26 is officially shown off by Apple and officially available for download, at least for developers and people who like to pretend they're developers so that they can get the beta early. And you know who downloads the very first beta of a recently blown up software experience to their main device? Psychopaths! Liquid Glass is what they're calling this new look. Well, this new vibe, really, because it's how it looks, but it's also how it feels. Honestly, I don't think people truly realize how incredible of a feat this was to pull off. This real-time dynamic UI that refracts on the fly, looking and feeling like actual glass, absolutely incredible achievement by the design teams and engineers over at the spaceship in Cupertino. Honestly, I hope all of you are super proud of yourselves. Give yourself a nice pat on the back, but do it quietly, because you're just 20 minutes away from dancing on the grave of Steve Jobs. You work here, and he's buried here. If he ever finds out you did this. In the early versions that we had seen and used for our leaks, things weren't nearly as transparent as they actually ended up being. And even then, it was rather hard to recreate and mock up because when we were making it, contrast and visibility was a real issue. But we just had to guess where to fill in the blanks because surely Apple would know how to solve the design issues, right? After all, we are just us, and they are an entire team of extremely talented individuals collectively tap dancing on the grave of Steve Jobs. Yep, nailed that line. Great. Good job, myself. What are the signs of a stroke? Like, how would you know? But legitimately, somehow, what they shipped is worse. It's beyond messy. It's heavy. It's hard to see. It's change for the sake of it, and it feels like no one was given enough time to think this one through. Despite all the rumors of perfectly circular icons, the first time we leaked the home screen, we said that based on the version that we had seen, the icons were actually the same shape. That more or less this seemed to be a visual overhaul more than anything else. In the second version we saw, the icons were still the same shape, but with these weird rounder icons hidden behind a secret animation, to which I said might just be a glitch. And, well, turns out it was that. It was that. It was a glitch. It was not real, unfortunately. What we got here really is just a visual vibe change only. It's just iOS 18, with a few more features that were probably supposed to ship last year, if we're being honest, but didn't, and a redesign to that. I feel like iOS didn't need just a redesign. It needed a reset. I fear that Apple is losing control, losing touch, losing themselves. Can I talk to you about that? And can I do that after the sponsor part? Apple is calling the redesign to iOS 26 Liquid Glass. And guess what? Glass breaks. That's why you need today's sponsor, ESR. We love our friends over at ESR because, well, I'm just going to say it. They make the best cases in the game. You can show off the design of your iPhone and still keep it safe with market-leading protection. The attention to detail is what matters, like how strong ESR's magnets are in this thing. They should rename MagSafe to MagLock. Am I right? Along with real camera control protection and their stash stand kickstand, you won't find a better, more practical case. They don't just innovate with their cases either. Their wireless chargers are next level. Their MagSafe car charger has Qi 2, which means up to 15-watt fast charging. And those 18 N52 magnets provide a crazy grip. ESR offers a ton of wireless charging products. Their 3-in-1 charger is my personal favorite. With Cryo Boost technology, these bad boys cool themselves while charging. ESR is one of the last brands standing actually still innovating in the accessory market, and we couldn't ask for a better partner. Click the links in the description below to learn more and grab your own. As Apple fans, we're kind of used to constant W's. Even when Apple is slower than the competition, they're still more complete, more cohesive, more intentional. Lately, though, they're kind of none of that. Even if it sucks to acknowledge, let's take a step back. Their biggest swings in the last couple of years were Vision Pro, Apple Intelligence, and now iOS 26. All of those, in my opinion, are whiffs. Vision Pro is, well, Apple Intelligence is basically a straight-up marketing farce, leading to actual lawsuits, Apple hiding previous claims, and full-on damage control. And iOS 26 is a slop fest, covered in liquid glass. It's kind of hard to imagine that they waited an entire whole decade just to put a new Minecraft shader pack on an already broken software experience. Coming in to WWDC, iOS was probably in, maybe the worst spot it has ever been. Years and years of compiled code weighing it down, bugs and glitches that are just too deep to remove, and an engineering team crippled by the pressure of having to rush new ideas out in a matter of months. No matter how talented that team is, it is impossible to go back and optimize when you can't even get a hold of next week's promises. It really does seem like the pressure from the AI space, many other companies that are able to take more risks and fail more often, are absolutely eating Tim Cook's lunch. And the entire company, behind the scenes, seems to be in panic mode, and it's getting harder and harder for them to hide it. The last big redesign, so iOS 7, was also a bit clunky upon the first developer beta, but at least it had the fundamentals down. iOS 26 legitimately looks like they literally ran out of time before it was in the hands of customers. Luckily for them, and all of us, the software doesn't actually publicly ship until September along with the new iPhones, but I don't know if that's enough time to fix what we're seeing right now. So a few months ago, when we here at FPT internally got our hands on that first early build of iOS 26, what we then thought was going to be called iOS 19, my render artist and I both made comments about how the version we had that we were going to use to mock up and recreate to show you iOS 26, we made comments about how messy and clunky and buggy it seemed in the version that we had, but thought, hey, you know what? We got 3 months until Dub. Hopefully by then, this will be a tighter experience, more polished. But I gotta tell you, and my render artist could probably also tell you, with what we saw versus what actually shipped out to developers yesterday, it's not that much tighter. Is it tighter and more polished? Yes, but not by a lot. And what's worrying is what shipped to developers a few days ago. Between that and the public release in September with those new iPhones, there's also only 3 months. Speaking of those iPhones in September, we leaked that entire lineup too. We did that before our iOS leaks, so people were wondering if those leaks for the iPhones were legitimate or not. But maybe now you could go back and watch and be like, oh yeah, that's probably right. All I'm saying is that what we're seeing from Apple lately, well, it doesn't feel like Apple anymore. It doesn't feel like they have control. And it certainly doesn't feel like the people that should care do.